Hello, this is Gen83, and this is episode 13 of the My Team Lotus career mode, and we're here doing some work on the facilities. I actually had quite a bit of spare money after signing De Vries because I thought I was going to be getting someone better, but yeah, so we had about 5 million to spend, so I decided to spend it on some resource and development point progress, and also a simulator for a fitness center actually for Nick De Vries to improve him a little bit, because obviously having a good second driver, it makes sense to try and improve them a bit now. And also the R&D, we decided to go for another major chassis upgrade, 2 in a row really. That won't be here for a few races time obviously, but yeah, once that gets on, that'll really improve the car a lot, which is good for this team. And after points in Silverstone, we've got to try and get some more points here in Hungary. It's going to be tall order though, because yeah, the engine, I decided actually to go back to the old engine that we used for the first 6 races of the season. Obviously, just trying to avoid penalties, we need to use the bad parts at some point. I figured Hungary was probably quite a good time to use them, because it's the second lowest power track on the calendar after Monaco, so I thought just stick all the awful parts in and see what I can do with that. So yeah, practice programs were actually quite difficult, although track classification was fairly straightforward. Purple score on lap 1, and then the next one I went on to was the tyre wear. Yep, a tyre wear test, and we're only just up on a delta. Given that this is usually quite an easy one, I was a little bit worried, and unfortunately that was the only 2 I could do. We only got 30 on that as well, so not the best practice ever. And into qualifying straight away for the Hungary, a track that I don't really like that much. It's a very difficult track, especially in the traction zones, which is definitely where the weakest part of my driving. But the first lap in Q1 now, coming around the final few corners, I decided also to stick with the livery that we ran for Silverstone just because I prefer it, and the comments seem to agree with that it was a lot better. So yeah, back to the dark green livery, and it's going to be 5 tenths off of George Russell on the first lap with a 16.2, which isn't that good at all. And yeah, we've got to try and improve a lot, because I think I was about 1.2 seconds off of Nick De Vries, my teammate, who I definitely should be at least matching. And through turn 1, try and brake just had 100 meter board, 3rd gear on entry, coming out towards turn 2, braking just out of 50 and down to 4th gear, locking up a little bit on the front left, but keeping it nice and tight for the exit, and then flat out through turn 3, down the track extending a little bit, but I think I lost a bit of time through that, and down to turn 4, trying to be really committed through here. 7th gear, running a bit wider as well, but got away with it somehow, and through turn 5, 4th gear, on the exit, try and gain as much speed as possible through the chicane, just really committed, as close to those massive curves as possible, and actually riding it a bit there, but got away with it. And through this middle sector, it's incredibly difficult to get the flow right through here. I've got it okay, but yeah, it hasn't been the cleanest runs, because I'm all over the curbs, which is not what you want to see. And through this corner, taking as much speed as possible, and we're still 2 tenths down on Grosjean's time, so it's looking unlikely we're going to get out of Q1, especially with driving like that through the last sector. That was not good at all, braking at the black box on the right, 3rd gear for the second last corner, try and keep the exit as nice and clean as possible, and through the last corner, the braking points changed a bit for this year, so I was struggling quite a lot with that, and through the final corner, running wide as well again, which is really going to hamper my time. Only a 1/10.5 improvement, and it's kept me in last place, which, yeah, is obviously not ideal. Out in Q1, I don't think I can just blame the engine, although that's what I'm going to do and say the engine was absolutely woeful. So because I qualified last, I decided to actually take massive engine penalties, full on McLaren Honda style, just take every new power unit component I can and take a 60 place penalty, and obviously have a fresh engine for the race, which should help us down the line, because that, I mean, we've effectively got 2 new components for each of the rest of the season. With tracks like Belgium and Monza coming up, it's going to be very difficult to keep on top of the engine development. And yeah, onto the race, the grid then. Starting from last on the medium tyres, underfueling the car a bit, but here we are for 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. And I need one of my characteristic good starts, and that's exactly what we've got ahead of Stroll already, and Latifi and Russell, and we're looking down inside De Vries. He's almost going to force me into the wall here, and down towards turn 1, trying to brake nice and late, sending it on about 6 or 7 cars down inside both AlphaTauris into what would be 12th place, but Kvyat and Gasly still on the outside, so we've got to leave a bit of space, throwing the hand up in frustration there, but Gasly's got a good exit, and Kvyat's still up the inside as well, so it's going to be very close. Trying not to lose my front wing on the back of Gasly, but we've swung around the outside of Kvyat and held that place into 13th. And that is an unbelievable start, 9 places in the first sector of lap 1, which is pretty ridiculous really, but I'll definitely take it. Obviously taking advantage of the AI braking pretty early for turn 1, and yeah, on the back of Gasly, but nothing doing here, especially with that little bit of oversteer, which is not going to help. And yeah, lap 2, 1 lap later, and you can see still close enough to Gasly to think about a move, especially when DRS comes into play, but on the exit of turn 1, massive oversteer moment. That's going to like a Kvyat to have a chance down the inside into turn 2, and try and brake nice and late, and forcing one, swing it around the outside Kvyat, as we did on lap 1 actually, and keeping on the apex, which gives me the inside line for the flat out turn 3, and Kvyat backs out of that pretty sensibly. Don't want to be running side by side up here. So meanwhile, let's have a look at that race start, which was insane, and it's back to normal with the Mercedes front row, Ferraris on the second row, and Red Bulls on the third. And yeah, in the background you can see myself starting from the very back of the grid, almost in the wall, within about 50 meters, but down the inside of absolutely everyone into, well, temporarily 12th, but obviously Gasly got me, and we're down to 13th now between the two AlphaTauris, which is who is kind of battling in the championship as well. We're very close with those two. They've had some good results lately, so yeah, beating AlphaTauri in the championship is a very decent aim to have this season, and I hope I can achieve it. But we managed to split them at the start there, which is very helpful. And quite a bit into the race, actually, lap 7, and some of the soft drivers have started to pit. We're up into 8th place now, 7th place actually. And also Kvyat's got a good run on me down towards turn 1, braking nice and late, and try to keep him on the apex again, holding it around the outside. It's going to give me a good exit down towards turn 2, and using overtake mode down towards the next corner, and we should just about hold him off because it's very difficult to go on the outside there. But you can see the gap that Gasly has and Giovinazzi. They've got 5 seconds already in 8 laps, so my pace just really wasn't good. But luckily, with the nature of the track, I was able to have an absolute train of cars behind me. So yeah, we're still in a good position, but the pace really isn't there. And also yellow flags are out. I don't know what that's for, but it's actually Lance Stroll, who started on the back row with me, now out of the race, and the safety car's been deployed. And I'm going to obviously take advantage and peel into the pits for the hard tyres and hopefully go to the end of the race, because yeah, the pit window was lap 16, but hards can pretty much go as long as they want, and especially after the safety car, it will be what, lap 12 by the time it comes in, so that's only a 4-lap extension really. So we should be able to go to the end on the hards and get a free pit stop. And you can see on the minimap, a load of other cars are doing exactly the same thing. Kvyat and Magnussen both in the pits. Gasly and Giovinazzi also ahead of me, taking advantage, and Nick de Vries, my teammate, who for some reason always seems to be pitting at the same time as me, so he's going to get held in the pits once again, but nothing I can do about that. And down towards the very end of the pit lane for the hard tyres, the Lotus boys going to change those onto hards. A 2-second pit stop, not quite the heights of the 1.8 I got in Silverstone, but still a pretty good stop there from the boys. And we're going to rejoin in 15th place, just behind Ricciardo. But plenty of cars ahead of me are not going to the end. They all pit early for mediums, and the likes of Latifi haven't pit at all yet. So unfortunately, there's a bit of a glitch here. My throttle just cut out on the safety car restart for no obvious reason. So I've lost about 2 seconds to Ricciardo. Like that, nothing wrong with the car. It's just a game glitch that meant that, yeah, Ricciardo managed to pull away because my throttle just wouldn't go down on the limiter. And that's going to like Kvyat, another chance down the inside. We try to force him into the wall like Michael Schumacher did to Barrichello all those years ago. But down towards turn 1, breaking it nice and late 100-meter board, and forcing it around the outside of Kvyat again, holding him in on the apex and holding that position in 15th. And we've just about got the space down towards turn 2, it looks like. And yes, a couple hours later, I'd mentioned Latifi hadn't stopped yet. He's being an absolute buffer, and you can see the gap ahead of him, I think, to Ocon, but not with an exit like that. I was hoping to have a chance down towards turn 1, but we've got a massive slide on down the exit, and that's going to like Kvyat again to challenge his turn 1, almost hitting the back of Ricciardo as well. We do hit him actually. Luckily the front wing is made of steel, so it doesn't break under any circumstances for some reason. And down towards turn 2, nothing doing there, but 1 lap later again, Ricciardo's desperately trying to get past Latifi because the gap to the other cars we're meant to be battling is so big now. Ricciardo down the inside of the Williams driver into turn 1, and I've got to try and pick up the pieces here and make sure I can stay and get ahead of Latifi as soon as possible to try to keep with Ricciardo. And down towards turn 2, he's in rich and overtake. We're going to send one down the inside of the Williams driver, and he's going to turn in on me massively there, dragging me around the corner, but somehow we've managed to make it work. That was an absolutely hideous move, but in real life, I'm pretty sure a driver not fighting for net position would have absolutely let us through there. But unfortunately, Latifi's AI car deciding I didn't deserve any space, but luckily we made it work. And now, about 5 laps later, there's more cars in the pits, and we're up into 8th place going to the end of the race. So obviously any position now is a net place, but you can see the gap to Ricciardo is 4.5 seconds. So yeah, he really did have the pace on those hards in this Renault to pull away really quickly. And unfortunately, we got no chance really of battling Ricciardo in the long term. But meanwhile, Leclerc coming out of the pits in his Ferrari is getting very, very close to me here. He's going to the end on those mediums, but obviously I'm going to the end on these hards as well. So it's a fair fight in terms of net position, although realistically he will have the pace just to mince me probably, and going wide in turn 2 definitely will. help Leclerc on his task of getting past me, but not on this occasion. And now he's in this train behind me with the likes of Kvyat and Ocon still, and I think someone else as well, but down into the last sector. Lap 22, the same lap, and Leclerc's going to go down the inside into the final few corners, and we've got leaving the space on the inside, but holding it around here, he's got to give me the space on the exit, and the long hairpin of the second last corner is going to allow me to get a shorter line, and forcing him wide and trying to take that position back side by side with Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari, and we've just about got the DRS activation as well, so keeping him hemmed in on that tight line in the final corner is going to allow me to go into rich mix and overtake mode, and down towards turn 1, we've got the DRS wide open. And we're in a position to send one on Leclerc and hold him up even more down towards turn 1. We're going very deep into turn 1, which is not going to help at all. And Leclerc's absolutely done me on the switchback, and maybe Kvyat could as well, but not quite. He got put off by me losing the back end quite a lot there. So luckily we've managed to hold on to 7th. But also in this train now is Sebastian Vettel, and a few laps later we've got Ocon as a buffer to Vettel at the minute. So as long as that stays the same, it should be quite easy to defend because Ocon doesn't really have the pace. But unfortunately, when I'm driving off the track, that's not going to help at all. And Ocon now is challenging down towards the next corner and braking nice and late. It should be easy to keep him behind, as we've seen many times this race. Just the inside turn 2 is so overpowered, and that's actually allowed Ocon to lose the place to Vettel as well, which is a bit annoying because yeah, Vettel can definitely pass me in a straight line, and with the medium tyres on, he's going to be very quick. And yeah, we can see a lap later, lap 25, and Vettel is definitely in a position now to capitalise on this. Yeah, on my DRS and everything. He's going to go down the inside. It's turn 1. But we're going to try and fight it because there's only 9 laps to go, so we might as well, and just for a bit of fun to annoy Vettel a bit. And yeah, overtake mode on and rich mix down towards turn 2, try and keep that inside line and sending it on Vettel in the Ferrari. 3rd gear, he's got leaving his space on the inside and forcing him out wide, and that's going to give me the better run through turn 3, sorry, and take that position up back into 7th place. But it's looking likely that we're going to get points. You can see on the minimap there's George Russell in 12th, being an absolute buffer to everyone. The Mercedes, like the Racing Points, the McLarens, absolutely everyone is just getting held up by Russell, and on a track that you can't really pass on. That's given me a massive advantage as Vettel goes through into 7th place. Didn't really fight too hard that occasion. But yeah, George Russell doing an absolute job because there was no one really able to challenge myself, Ocon, Kvyat, and I think it's Perez in 11th at the minute. But with moves like that, I'm going to be like my own worst enemy really, and Ocon is going to have a big chance now because I've gone to grass through the middle sector, and that's going to be put grass all over my tyres, and Ocon's going to try it on the inside. I've gone very deep there, braking nice and late, but I kept on the track and down towards the final few corners. Ocon's going to have a big opportunity here because my tyres are still trying to clean themselves up. But yeah, as I was saying, the lowest we're going to finish here is 11th because George Russell has been an absolute legend and trained everyone up, including both Mercedes somehow. So that's, yeah, really helps us out because we've got massive track position compared to the rest of them. But meanwhile, Ocon down towards turn 1, not really in a position to fight, but I've broken a bit too late there, really. Down to 3rd gear, we're going to get wide on the exit there over the curbs with only 2 laps to go now. Ocon's going to try down the outside towards turn 2 once again. We've seen this move plenty of times this race, breaking nice and late and asserting our dominance on the inside of the corner, and Ocon can't do anything around the outside there, so that's going to leave us in 8th place. And that was pretty much it. I managed to hold off Ocon for the rest of the race, and coming around the final corner, we're going to finish 8th, which is, yeah, I'll happily take from last on the grid, to be honest. Obviously, the new engine helped, and yeah, propelled us down the straights very well. And 4 more points, so yeah, happily taking those, and we'll move on with drive for the day as well. I think for about the 6th or 7th time this season, to be honest. That's kind of what happens when you qualify really badly and have a good race. So yeah, Max Verstappen and Alex Albon getting Red Bull 1-2 actually. They absolutely nailed the strategy. Leclerc managing to get 3rd place on his 2-stop, and Giovinazzi and Gasly, the 2 luckiest drivers it feels like. Gasly in the last 4 races now has had a 5th, a 6th, a 6th and a 5th again. And after scoring like 2 points in the first 8 races, he's now right behind me in the championship. Giovinazzi meanwhile is best of the rest after some really good results for him, to be fair. And yeah, we're 9th in the drivers and 9th in the constructors on 42 points. But realistically, as the season goes on, we should be able to finish quite high up in the constructors because with Nick De Vries hopefully scoring points as well, that'll be helpful. And yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been JWay3, and I'll see you next time.